Baltimore, Maryland, May 5, 2015. Tamara Johnson was dusting the guest bedroom on her first week as a maid at Dr. Harrison Caldwell's mansion when her elbow bumped into one of his wax figures. The figure was life-size. A woman in a white nursing uniform, dark hair, unnervingly realistic features. When Tamara's elbow hit it, the arm broke off and fell to the carpet. She froze. Sticking out from the broken wax coating was something white, solid, structural. It wasn't plaster. It wasn't resin. Tamara's hands started shaking. She knelt down, picked up the arm, looked at the break. It was organic. She turned the arm over, scraped at the wax with her fingernail. The coating flaked away. Underneath, the surface was cold and leathery, and on that surface was a tattoo, a small butterfly, blue and purple wings. Tamara dropped the arm. Her vision blurred. She couldn't breathe. That tattoo, she knew that tattoo. She looked up at the figure's face, really looked at it. The mole on the left cheek, the gap between the front teeth, the exact curl of the hair. It was Jasmine, her sister, who disappeared 14 years ago. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you the story. Jasmine Johnson vanished on March 15, 2001. She was 23 years old, a nursing student at Johns Hopkins University. She left campus one Thursday evening, never came back. The police investigated, found nothing. The case went cold after 6 months. For 14 years, Tamara searched, put up flyers, called hospitals, checked morgues, never stopped looking. And now, she was kneeling on the floor of a billionaire's guest bedroom, staring at her sister's face frozen in wax, holding her sister's arm with the butterfly tattoo she got when she was 19. Tamara heard footsteps. Downstairs. The front door opening. Dr. Caldwell was home. She tried to stand. Her legs wouldn't work. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. The footsteps came up the stairs. Slow, steady. They stopped at the bedroom door. Dr. Harrison Caldwell stood there. Silver hair, expensive suit, blue eyes that showed nothing. He looked at Tamara on the floor, at the broken arm, at the figure with the missing limb. His expression didn't change. "You broke my art," he said quietly. Tamara finally found her voice. It came out as a whisper. That's my sister." Caldwell was silent for a moment. Then he stepped into the room, bent down, picked up the broken arm, examined the interior structure, the scraped wax, the butterfly tattoo. "I see," he said. He looked at Tamara. "You're fired. Get out. That's my sister." Tamara's voice was rising now. "That's Jasmine. She's been missing for 14 years. That's a wax figure," Caldwell said calmly. "Custom made, very expensive, and you destroyed it. It's not wax. I saw what's inside. There's her tattoo." "You're hysterical," he said. He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police." "Yes, call them. They need to see this." Dr. Caldwell dialed. Put the phone to his ear. "Yes, hello. I need to report a trespassing and destruction of property at 4712 Greenway Avenue. A former employee has broken into my home and destroyed valuable art." "Yes. I'll wait for officers." "Thank you." He hung up. "You have two options," he said to Tamara. "You can leave now, and I won't press charges. Or you can stay, and I'll have you arrested for breaking and entering, destruction of property, and theft." "Theft? I didn't steal anything. The cleaning supplies. You were fired this morning via email before you arrived. You used my key to enter illegally. That's breaking and entering. You took cleaning supplies from my home. That's theft. You destroyed a $50,000 art piece. That's felony destruction of property." Tamara stared at him. "You didn't send me any email." "Yes, I did. Check your phone." Tamara pulled out her phone with shaking hands. There was an email, sent at 8:43 that morning from Elite Cleaning Services. "Your assignment at the Caldwell residence has been terminated. Please return your key to our office. Do not go to the property." It was sent 15 minutes before she'd arrived. "You backdated this," Tamara said. "You sent this just now." "Prove it," Dr. Caldwell replied. They stared at each other. "Get out of my house," he said. "Now, or I'll have you arrested." Tamara looked at Jasmine, at her sister's face, frozen in wax. "I'm going to the police," Tamara said. "Go ahead," Dr. Caldwell said. "Tell them whatever you want, but you'll be the one in handcuffs, not me." Tamara stood up. Her legs were shaking. She walked past Dr. Caldwell, down the stairs, out the front door. She got halfway down the driveway before she collapsed on the grass and was sick into the bushes. Sirens were approaching in the distance. The police arrived 6 minutes later. 2 officers. They found Tamara sitting on the curb, crying. "Ma'am, we received a call about a trespassing," one officer said. "That's not me," Tamara said, wiping her face. "I'm an employee. I was working, and I found something. Inside. You need to see it." The officers exchanged a glance. "What did you find?" the second officer asked. "A body. My sister's body. It's one of his wax figures. They're not wax. They're real." The first officer sighed. "Ma'am, have you been drinking?" "No, I swear." "Go inside and look. There's a broken arm. You can see inside it." Dr. Caldwell came outside. He walked down the driveway toward them. He looked tired, disappointed. "Officers, thank you for coming," he said. "I'm Dr. Harrison Caldwell. This woman was my housekeeper. I terminated her employment this morning. She showed up anyway and destroyed one of my art pieces. I'd like her removed from my property." "She says she found a body," the first officer said. Dr. Caldwell shook his head sadly. "I collect custom wax figures. She broke one. She seems to be having some kind of episode. I don't want to press charges. I just want her to leave." "Can we see the figure?" the second officer asked. "Of course." They went inside. Tamara followed, flanked by the officers. They went upstairs to the guest bedroom. The broken arm was gone. The figure with the missing arm was gone. The room was empty except for furniture. "Where is it?" Tamara said. "It was right here. The figure, the arm. I moved it," Dr. Caldwell said calmly. "After she damaged it, I took it to my private restoration room. I didn't want her to cause more damage." "Can we see it?" the first officer asked. "It's in my study, which is locked, and I'd prefer not to open it. The piece is very valuable and I don't want more people handling it." The officer looked at Tamara. "Did you break his property?" "Yes. But that's all we need to know. Ma'am, you need to leave. If you don't, we'll arrest you for trespassing." "It's my sister," Tamara shouted. "Her name is Jasmine Johnson. She disappeared in 2001. Check the records. She's a missing person." The officers looked at Dr. Caldwell. "I purchased that figure 8 years ago from an artist in Philadelphia," Dr. Caldwell said. "I have receipts, certificates of authenticity. It's a commissioned work. Can you provide those documents?" the officer asked. "Of course. They're in my study. Give me a moment." He went downstairs. The officers stayed with Tamara. "Ma'am, do you have any evidence this figure is your sister?" the first officer asked. "The face. It looked exactly like her, and there was a tattoo, a butterfly, on the arm." "A tattoo on a wax figure? It's not wax." The officers didn't look convinced. Dr. Caldwell returned. He handed the officer a folder. Inside were papers. An invoice from an artist named Robert Vance in Philadelphia, dated 2007. Purchase price, $50,000. Description: custom wax figure, female, nursing uniform. Certificates of authenticity. Photos of the artist's studio. A signed letter from the artist confirming the sale. The officer showed them to Tamara. "This says he bought it in 2007, he said. "He's lying. He made those documents." "Ma'am, you need to calm down. I'm not leaving until you test that figure. DNA test. You'll see. It's her." The second officer looked at Dr. Caldwell. "Sir, would you be willing to allow us to inspect the figure?" Dr. Caldwell hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but carefully. It's very fragile." They went to his study. He unlocked the door. Inside was a room filled with bookshelves, a large desk, and in the corner, covered with a white sheet, was a figure. Dr. Caldwell removed the sheet. It was the nurse figure, with both arms attached. The arm wasn't broken. The surface was smooth. No tattoo. Tamara stared. No, that's not. The arm was broken. I saw inside it. It was damaged, Dr. Caldwell said. I repaired it. I have some restoration supplies here. The officer examined the figure, touched the arm, knocked on it lightly. It sounded hollow, like plaster or resin. Looks like wax to me, he said. It's not. Tamara grabbed the figure's arm. She tried to break it. The officers pulled her back. Ma'am, that's enough. Let me go. I need to show you. They dragged her out of the study, down the stairs, out of the house. You're not welcome on this property, the first officer said. If you come back, you'll be arrested. Do you understand? Tamara was sobbing. Please just test it. DNA. You'll see. We're not wasting department resources on a hunch, the officer said. Go home. They got in their car and drove away. Tamara stood on the sidewalk, looked up at the house. Dr. Caldwell was in the window, watching her. He closed the curtain. Tamara went straight to the police station. She walked up to the front desk, asked to speak to a detective. They made her wait 2 hours. Finally, a detective came out. Detective Sarah Morrison, late 30s. Tired eyes. You're here about a missing person? Morrison asked. Yes, my sister, Jasmine Johnson. She disappeared in 2001. I found her. Today. She's in a house. Dr. Harrison Caldwell's house. He turned her into a display. Morrison's expression didn't change. You found your sister who's been missing for 14 years in someone's house as a wax figure. I know how it sounds. But I saw her. I know my sister's face. And there was a tattoo. A butterfly. On her left shoulder. Jasmine had that same tattoo. Did you see the tattoo on the figure? Yes. I scraped away the wax. It was there. Do you have photos? No. It happened so fast. I broke the arm by accident. Then he came home. He fixed it before the police got there. So you don't have any evidence? No. But you can get a warrant. Test the figure. DNA test, you'll see. Morrison sighed. Ma'am, I can't get a warrant based on your belief that a wax figure looks like your sister. I need evidence. The tattoo is evidence. You said he repaired the arm, so there's no tattoo visible now. He covered it up, or it was never there, and you imagined it. Tamara stared at her. You don't believe me. I believe you believe what you're saying, Morrison said carefully. But the officers at the scene saw nothing suspicious. Dr. Caldwell provided documentation showing he purchased the figure legally, and you were recently fired from his employment. You can see how this looks like a revenge accusation. I don't care how it looks. My sister is in that house. I'll pull Jasmine Johnson's case file, Morrison said. I'll review it. If I find any evidence connecting her disappearance to Dr. Caldwell, I'll investigate. But without evidence, my hands are tied. He has 17 of those figures, Tamara said. 17. What if they're all real people? That's a very serious accusation. Then investigate it. Morrison stood up. I'll look into it. In the meantime, I need you to stay away from Dr. Caldwell and his property. If you show up there again, you'll be arrested. Understood? Tamara wanted to scream, but she nodded. She left the police station, sat in her car, cried for 20 minutes. Then she pulled out her phone and started searching. If the police wouldn't help her, she'd find another way. That night, Tamara couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Jasmine's face, frozen in wax. That small mole on her cheek, that gap in her teeth. She'd found her sister. After 14 years of searching, of hoping, of praying, she'd found her, and no one believed her. Tamara got up at 3 in the morning. She went to her computer. She started researching Dr. Harrison Caldwell. He was 72 years old, founder and former CEO of Caldwell Pharmaceuticals, retired 5 years ago. Net worth estimated at $400 million. Philanthropy focus, medical research and art preservation. Art preservation. Tamara kept searching. She found photos of his wax figure collection, articles from art magazines. He'd been collecting for 30 years. The figures were described as hauntingly realistic and pushing the boundaries of wax sculpture. One article from 2009 showed photos of 5 of his figures. Tamara studied each face carefully. One looked familiar, a woman in a red dress, dark skin, short hair, high cheekbones. Tamara pulled up missing persons databases. She searched for black women missing from Baltimore between 1990 and 2010. She found her, Nicole Barnes, disappeared in 2004, 26 years old. Last seen leaving work at Johns Hopkins Hospital, where she was a nurse. A nurse, just like Jasmine. Tamara's hands were shaking. She printed the photo of Nicole. She printed the photo from the article showing Dr. Caldwell's figure in the red dress. She put them side by side. It was the same woman, same cheekbones, same nose, same small scar on her forehead. Tamara kept searching. 2 hours later, she'd found 3 more matches. Maria Santos, disappeared 2000, nursing student. The figure by Dr. Caldwell's fireplace. Keisha Williams, disappeared 1998, Johns Hopkins nursing student. The figure in the Victorian dress. Ashley Peterson, disappeared 2003, nursing student. The figure reading a book. They were all nurses or nursing students, just like Jasmine, and they all disappeared from Baltimore, and they were all in Dr. Caldwell's house. Tamara printed everything. She made a folder, photos, missing person reports, articles about Dr. Caldwell's collection. She drove back to the police station at 6 in the morning. Detective Morrison wasn't there yet. Tamara waited in the parking lot. Morrison arrived at 7:30. Tamara got out of her car, approached her. "Detective, I found something. You need to see this." Morrison looked tired. "Miss Johnson, we talked about this. I found 4 more. 4 more missing women, all nurses, all from Baltimore, all in his house." She handed Morrison the folder. Morrison opened it, looked through the photos, the missing person reports. Her expression changed. "How did you find these?" she asked. "I matched faces. From articles about his collection to missing person databases." Morrison was quiet for a long moment. She looked through the folder again. "This is circumstantial," she said finally. "The faces look similar, but that's not proof. It's 4 women, all missing, all nurses, all in his house, looking like his wax figures. That's not the same as being his wax figures. Then get a warrant. Test them." "I can't get a warrant based on visual similarity." "Why not?" "Because judges require probable cause, and they look alike isn't probable cause." Tamara felt like screaming. "So what do I do?" "Keep looking. If you find a direct connection between Dr. Caldwell and any of these women, if he knew them, worked with them, was seen with them, then I can investigate." "He killed them. He turned them into art." "Prove it," Morrison said. "Bring me proof. Until then, my hands are tied." She walked into the station. Tamara stood in the parking lot, holding her useless folder, feeling completely alone. Over the next 3 days, Tamara didn't go home. She slept in her car. She spent every waking hour researching. She contacted families of the missing women. Most didn't respond. 2 did. Nicole Barnes's mother. She was 68. She lived in West Baltimore. She invited Tamara to her house. "Nicole disappeared 11 years ago," Mrs. Barnes said. They were sitting in a small living room. Photos of Nicole covered the walls. She was working night shift at Johns Hopkins. She left at midnight, never made it home. Police investigated for 6 months. Then they gave up. "Did she know Dr. Harrison Caldwell?" Tamara asked. "I don't know. She worked in the hospital pharmacy. She might have interacted with pharmaceutical reps." "Why?" Tamara showed her the photo of the figure in the red dress. "Does this look like Nicole to you?" Mrs. Barnes stared at the photo. Her hand went to her mouth. "Oh my God. That's in Dr. Caldwell's house. He calls it a wax figure. I think it's Nicole. That's her face. That's her scar. She got that scar falling off a bike when she was 7. I need you to go to the police," Tamara said. "Tell them you think that's your daughter. Will they listen? I don't know, but we have to try. Mrs. Barnes went to the police the next day. Detective Morrison took her statement, looked at the photos, said she'd investigate. Nothing happened. Tamara contacted the second family, Maria Santos's father. He lived in Glen Burnie. He agreed to meet. Maria disappeared 15 years ago, Mr. Santos said. He was in his 60s, spoke with a heavy accent. She was 20 years old, nursing student. She told us she was going to study at the library. She never came home. Did she know Dr. Harrison Caldwell? I don't think so. Why? Tamara showed him the photo of the figure by the fireplace. Does this look like Maria? Mr. Santos went pale. He stood up, walked to the photo, touched it with shaking hands. This is Maria. This is my daughter. Where did you take this? It's in Dr. Caldwell's house. He says it's art. That's Maria. I know my daughter's face. I need you to go to the police. Yes, I'll go today. Mr. Santos went to the police. He brought photos of Maria. He showed them to Detective Morrison, demanded they investigate. Morrison took his statement, said she'd look into it. Days passed. Nothing happened. 1 week after finding Jasmine, Tamara got a call from an unknown number. Miss Johnson, this is Jonathan Weir. I'm an attorney representing Dr. Harrison Caldwell. Tamara's stomach dropped. What do you want? Dr. Caldwell is filing a lawsuit against you for breach of contract, violation of your non-disclosure agreement, and harassment. You signed a confidentiality agreement when you were hired. You are now contacting families of missing persons and discussing private property located within Dr. Caldwell's residence. This is a direct violation of your contract. His art is made from real people. That is a defamatory statement. But more importantly, it is a disclosure of private information regarding his collection, which you are contractually forbidden from discussing. Dr. Caldwell purchased his collection legally. Your accusations are malicious. I know what I saw. You were fired for destroying his property. Now you're conducting a harassment campaign. This ends now. Cease all contact with Dr. Caldwell. Cease all contact with anyone regarding his art collection. If you don't, we'll seek a restraining order and pursue damages for every breach of your NDA. The call ended. Tamara sat in her car, shaking. He was coming after her, using his money and his lawyers to shut her up. She called Detective Morrison, left a voicemail. He's suing me. He's trying to stop me from talking. You need to investigate him. Please. Morrison didn't call back. 2 days later, Tamara lost her apartment. The eviction notice became final. She couldn't pay rent. Her daughter was staying with Tamara's mother. She moved into a women's shelter on Greenmount Avenue, shared a room with 3 other women. Her belongings fit in 2 trash bags. She kept researching. She found more matches. More missing women whose faces looked like Dr. Caldwell's figures. Brittany Foster, disappeared 2006. Figure in yellow dress. Jasmine Williams, disappeared 1999. Figure in garden scene. Aaliyah Thompson, disappeared 2009. Figure with book. All nursing students. All from Baltimore. All in his house. Tamara compiled everything into a massive document. 37 pages. Photos. Missing person reports. Timeline. She titled it, The Caldwell Collection, Evidence of Serial Murder. She sent it to Detective Morrison, to the FBI, to the mayor's office, to local news stations. No one responded. 3 weeks after finding Jasmine, Tamara got a call from Detective Morrison. Miss Johnson, I need you to come to the station. Did you read my document? Tamara asked. Just come in, please. Tamara went. Morrison was waiting with another detective, Detective James Riley. Homicide. They sat in an interview room. We've been looking into Dr. Caldwell, Morrison said. We've reviewed your evidence. We've spoken to families of missing persons. And we've consulted with legal. And Tamara's heart was pounding. And we're pursuing a warrant to search his property and test his art collection. Tamara almost cried. You believe me? We believe there's enough circumstantial evidence to warrant investigation, Riley said carefully. But I need to be clear. This is a very difficult case. Dr. Caldwell has resources. He has lawyers. He's already filed a civil suit against you. and we need to be absolutely certain before we move forward. How long will the warrant take? Could be days, could be weeks. Judge needs to review. Weeks. Those bodies are in his house right now. We're moving as fast as we can, Morrison said. In the meantime, you need to stay away from him. No contact, no more research. Let us handle this. I can't just... Yes, you can, Riley said firmly. You've done your part. You brought this to our attention. Now let us do our job. Tamara wanted to argue, but she nodded. She left the station feeling both relieved and terrified. They believed her, but would it be enough? The warrant took 16 days. 16 days of Tamara living in the shelter, checking her phone every hour, barely sleeping. Finally, on May 26th, 2015, she got a call from Morrison. We got the warrant. We're executing it today. Stay by your phone. At 2 in the afternoon, a convoy of police vehicles arrived at 4712 Greenway Avenue. 12 officers, a forensic team, Detective Morrison and Detective Riley. They knocked on Dr. Caldwell's door. He answered. Calm, smiling. Can I help you? Morrison handed him the warrant. We have authorization to search your property and collect samples from your art collection. Dr. Caldwell read the warrant. His smile didn't fade. Of course. I have nothing to hide. Please, come in. He let them in. He showed them to every room. He pointed out each of the 17 figures. The forensic team photographed everything. They took small samples from each figure, scraping from the surface, looking for biological material. Dr. Caldwell watched calmly. You're wasting your time. These are wax sculptures, nothing more. We'll determine that, Riley said. The search took 4 hours. They cataloged everything, took samples from all 17 figures, boxed up documentation from Dr. Caldwell's study. When they were done, Morrison approached Dr. Caldwell. We'll be in touch with results, she said. I look forward to clearing my name, he replied. They left. Tamara got a call that evening. Morrison. Samples are at the lab. DNA testing takes time. Could be weeks. How long? 4 to 6 weeks minimum. Tamara closed her eyes. Thank you for believing me. Don't thank me yet. Let's see what the tests show. 6 weeks later, on July 8th, 2015, the DNA results came back. All 17 figures tested positive for human remains. They weren't wax sculptures. They were human bodies, preserved and coated with wax. Detective Morrison called Tamara at 9 in the morning. We have the results. You were right. All 17 are real people. Tamara started crying. She couldn't speak. We're arresting Dr. Caldwell today. Morrison continued. We've identified 5 of the 17 victims so far through DNA matching with missing person databases. Jasmine is confirmed. I'm so sorry for your loss. 5? What about the others? It's a process. Some DNA is degraded. Some don't have direct family matches on file yet, but we have Jasmine. Can I see her? Once we complete the forensic examination and release her remains to the family, yes. When? Could be months. This is a complex case. We need to document everything. Okay. Thank you. Morrison paused. Miss Johnson, I owe you an apology. We should have believed you from the start. You did everything right. I'm sorry we didn't listen. Just make sure he goes to prison. We will, I promise. The arrest happened at 2 in the afternoon. Detective Morrison and Detective Riley went to Dr. Caldwell's house with 4 uniformed officers. He answered the door, still calm, still smiling. Back again? He said. Dr. Harrison Caldwell, you're under arrest for the murder of Jasmine Johnson, Nicole Barnes, Maria Santos, and others, Morrison said. You have the right to remain silent. Dr. Caldwell's smile faded. This is absurd. I've done nothing wrong. Turn around. Hands behind your back. He complied. They cuffed him, led him to a police car. News crews had already gathered on the street. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Dr. Caldwell said nothing. He got in the car. They drove him to the station. His bail was set at $5 million. He posted it immediately. 3 hours after his arrest, he was back home. The news exploded. Pharmaceutical billionaire arrested in House of Horrors. 17 victims found in wax figure collection. Baltimore's most terrifying serial killer. Tamara watched the coverage from the shelter. Her phone rang constantly. Reporters, talk shows, documentaries. Everyone wanted to interview her. She said no to all of them, except one. A producer from a true crime podcast called. They wanted to do an episode highlighting Tamara's investigation, giving her credit, making sure people knew how hard she fought. She said yes. The episode aired 2 weeks later. It got 4 million downloads. Suddenly, people knew her name. They knew her story. Families of the other victims reached out. They wanted to thank her. They wanted to meet Nicole Barnes's mother, Maria Santos's father, Ashley Peterson's sister, Keisha Williams's brother. They all came together. They formed a group, Families United for Justice. They held a press conference. Our loved ones were taken from us, Nicole's mother said. For years, we didn't know what happened. We thought they'd run away. We thought they'd abandoned us. But they didn't. They were murdered. And this woman, Tamara Johnson, she never stopped fighting. She found them. She brought them home. Tamara stood at the back of the room, crying. This was why she fought. For this. For closure. For justice. But it wasn't over yet. Dr. Caldwell hired the best lawyers in the country. His legal team was led by Victor Hale, a criminal defense attorney famous for getting wealthy clients acquitted. The preliminary hearing was in October 2015. Hale argued that the bodies were legally acquired from medical supply companies and morgues. He produced documents showing purchases, certificates from anatomical supply businesses. My client is an art collector, Hale said. He collected preserved human remains from legal sources and commissioned artists to create displays. This is not illegal. Museums do this every day. The prosecutor argued that the victims were missing persons, not legally sourced cadavers. These women didn't donate their bodies to science, the prosecutor said. They were murdered. Their families have been looking for them for years. The judge reviewed the evidence. The case moved to trial. Trial date set, March 2016. Dr. Caldwell remained free on bail. While waiting for trial, Tamara tried to rebuild her life. She got a job at a grocery store, part-time, minimum wage. It barely covered her expenses. She was still living in the shelter. Still hadn't been able to get her daughter back from her mother's house. And Dr. Caldwell's lawsuit was still active. His lawyers weren't suing for defamation anymore. The DNA proved the bodies were real. Now, they were suing for breach of contract. They claimed her violation of the NDA had caused Dr. Caldwell financial damages by devaluing his property and exposing his private assets to public scrutiny before any crime was proven. It was a technicality, a loophole, but they were using it to crush her. They wanted $2 million in damages. Tamara couldn't afford a lawyer. She represented herself. She filed responses. She showed up to hearings. But she was drowning. Dr. Caldwell's lawyers filed motion after motion. Discovery requests, depositions. They were burying her in paperwork. And the criminal trial kept getting delayed. March 2016 came and went. The trial was postponed. Dr. Caldwell's lawyers filed motions to dismiss, motions to suppress evidence, motions for change of venue. The judge denied most of them. But it took time. The new trial date, September 2016. Then that got delayed too. New date, January 2017. Tamara's life was on hold. She couldn't move forward, couldn't heal, couldn't get closure, because Dr. Caldwell was still free, still living in his mansion, still conducting business. In November 2016, the medical examiner released Jasmine's remains to Tamara's family. They held a funeral, small service, just family and close friends. Tamara, her mother, her aunts and uncles, a few of Jasmine's nursing school friends. The casket was closed. After 15 years, there wasn't much left to see. The pastor spoke about Jasmine, about her dreams of becoming a nurse, about her kindness, about how much she loved her family. Tamara sat in the front row and cried through the entire service. After, they buried Jasmine in Woodlawn Cemetery. Plot 237. Section B. Tamara stood by the grave after everyone left. She put her hand on the headstone. Jasmine Mary Johnson, the 3rd of March 1978, the 15th of March 2001. Beloved daughter and sister gone too soon but never forgotten. I found you, Jas, Tamara whispered. I never stopped looking. I found you. She stayed there for an hour, just sitting, just crying. Finally, she stood up. She walked back to her car. She had to keep fighting. For Jasmine, for all of them. The trial was coming, and she needed to be ready. The trial finally began on March 6, 2017. Almost 2 years after Tamara found Jasmine, the courtroom was packed. Media, victims' families, spectators. Security was tight. Dr. Caldwell sat at the defense table in an expensive suit. He looked thinner, older, but still calm. Victor Hale sat next to him, confident, prepared. The prosecutor was Linda Reynolds, experienced, tough. She'd been working this case for 18 months. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Reynolds began. Over the next several weeks, you will hear evidence that will chill you to your core. Evidence that Dr. Harrison Caldwell systematically murdered 17 young women over a period of 22 years. That he preserved their bodies and displayed them in his home as art. She showed photos of the victims, alive, smiling, then photos of them as figures, frozen, lifeless. The jury looked horrified. These women had families, Reynolds continued. They had dreams. They were nursing students. They wanted to help people. And Dr. Caldwell took that from them. He turned them into objects, into decorations. And when he was caught, he tried to claim it was legal, that he purchased these bodies legitimately. But the evidence will show that's a lie. These women were reported missing. Their families searched for them. And all along, they were in his house. Reynolds sat down. Victor Hale stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, he said smoothly. My client is a 72-year-old man who has dedicated his life to medicine and philanthropy. He is an art collector. He has a fascination with human anatomy. And yes, he collected preserved human remains. But he did so legally, from medical supply companies, from anatomical specimen dealers, from estate sales. He showed his own photos, documents, receipts, certificates. The prosecution wants you to believe that Dr. Caldwell murdered 17 women, Hale continued. But they have no evidence, no witnesses, no confessions, no DNA linking him to any of the crime scenes. All they have is coincidence. These women were missing. He had bodies. They assume the two are connected. But assumption is not evidence. And I will prove to you that Dr. Caldwell is innocent. Hale sat down. The trial began. The prosecution spent 3 weeks presenting evidence. DNA results confirming the bodies were the missing women. Testimony from forensic pathologists explaining the preservation process. Testimony from families describing their loved ones' disappearances. Timeline showing that all 17 women disappeared from the Baltimore area over a 22-year period. Photos of Dr. Caldwell's house showing the figures displayed throughout. Tamara testified. She described finding Jasmine, breaking the arm, seeing the structure inside. She identified photos of the figure. Victor Hale cross-examined her. Miss Johnson, you were fired by Dr. Caldwell, correct? Yes, and you were upset about that. I was upset about finding my sister's body in his house. You have a history of mental health issues, don't you? Depression, anxiety. I've dealt with grief after my sister disappeared. That's not yes or no. You've been treated for depression. Yes. And you admit you destroyed Dr. Caldwell's property. I didn't destroy anything. I accidentally broke. You broke a $50,000 art piece. Yes or no? Yes. And you signed an NDA when you were hired, correct? Yes. And you violated that NDA by speaking to the press and families about private property in his home. I was trying to find the truth. You were trying to hurt him because you were angry about being fired. That's not true. No further questions. Tamara stepped down. She felt like she'd failed, like Hale had made her look vindictive. But the evidence kept coming. The defense took 2 weeks. They called expert witnesses who testified about legal body trade, about how medical schools sell cadavers, about anatomical specimen dealers. They showed documents proving Dr. Caldwell had purchased 17 bodies over 22 years from various sources. These are legal transactions, Hale argued. My client did nothing wrong, the prosecution countered. Those documents are fake, Reynolds said, manufactured after the fact, because the real source of these bodies is murder. But proving the documents were fake was difficult. The anatomical dealers existed. They confirmed the sales. They had records. The defense argued that the dealers didn't ask where bodies came from. They just sold what they had. That's not Dr. Caldwell's fault, Hale said. The trial dragged on. Weeks turned into months. The jury looked exhausted. The families looked heartbroken. Dr. Caldwell looked bored. Finally, in June 2017, closing arguments began. Linda Reynolds spoke first. Don't be fooled by paperwork, she told the jury. Don't be distracted by receipts and certificates. Look at the facts. 17 women disappeared from Baltimore. All nursing students. All in their 20s. All Black or Latina. And all of them ended up in Dr. Caldwell's house. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. And that pattern points to one conclusion. Dr. Caldwell is a serial killer. Victor Hale delivered his closing. The prosecution has not proven murder, he said. They've proven that my client owned bodies, but owning bodies is not illegal. They've proven that these bodies are missing persons. But they have not proven that my client killed them. Where is the evidence? Where is the DNA linking him to the crime scenes? Where are the witnesses? Where is the confession? They have none of that, because my client is innocent. The jury deliberated for 11 days. On June 27, 2017, they returned with a verdict. Guilty on 5 counts of first-degree murder. Not guilty on 12 counts. The jury believed Dr. Caldwell killed 5 of the women, Jasmine, Nicole, Maria, and 2 others where the DNA evidence was strongest. But they had reasonable doubt about the other 12 because the DNA was too degraded to be 100% conclusive in time for the trial. Dr. Caldwell's face went pale. His lawyers immediately filed for appeal. Sentencing was set for August. On August 15, 2017, Dr. Caldwell was sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. The judge was stern. You preyed on vulnerable young women, the judge said. You took their lives. You turned them into objects. You displayed them for your own pleasure. And when you were caught, you showed no remorse. You deserve to spend the rest of your life in prison. Dr. Caldwell was led out in handcuffs. Victims' families cried, hugged each other. It wasn't complete justice. 12 of the 17 murders weren't proven, but it was something. Tamara sat in the back of the courtroom. She should have felt relief, victory, closure. But all she felt was exhausted. Dr. Caldwell's lawyers filed an appeal immediately. They argued the conviction was based on circumstantial evidence. They argued the documents proving legal purchase of bodies were valid. The appeal took 2 years. In October 2019, the Maryland Court of Appeals upheld the conviction. Dr. Caldwell's lawyers appealed to the Maryland Supreme Court. That appeal took another year. In August 2020, the Maryland Supreme Court upheld the conviction. Dr. Caldwell's lawyers filed a federal appeal. It's still pending. As of 2025, Dr. Caldwell is in prison, but his legal team continues to fight. He might be there for life, or he might win his appeal and get a new trial. No one knows. Tamara tried to rebuild. She got a better job. Manager at a retail store, $30,000 a year. She saved money, got her own apartment, small, 1 bedroom, but it was hers. She regained custody of her daughter in 2018. They're living together now. But life is hard. Dr. Caldwell's civil lawsuit against her for the NDA breach is still active. His estate, his lawyers, are still pursuing the damages. They claim she owes the estate for the loss of value to the collection. Tamara can't afford to defend herself. She's drowning in legal fees. The stress is overwhelming. She visits Jasmine's grave every Sunday. She brings flowers. She sits. She talks to her sister. I found you, she always says. I never stopped looking. I found you. but sometimes she wonders if it was worth it. She lost her job, her home, her financial stability, her peace of mind. She found her sister, but she lost everything else. The other families got closure. They buried their loved ones. They held memorials. Nicole Barnes, Maria Santos, Ashley Peterson, Keisha Williams, Aaliyah Thompson, all properly laid to rest. But 12 of the victims remain unidentified. Dr. Caldwell won't say who they are. The DNA wasn't enough to confirm their names. Those families are still searching, still hoping, still waiting. Tamara thinks about them sometimes, about how they feel. She got answers. They didn't. Is that fair? No, but life isn't fair. Justice isn't fair. The system isn't fair. Dr. Caldwell is in prison, but his lawyers are still fighting. His money is still protecting him. His influence is still shielding him. And Tamara is still struggling, still broke, still traumatized. She found her sister, but it cost her everything. Today is December 9th, 2025. Tamara is 38 years old. She's still working at the retail store, still living in her one-bedroom apartment, still paying off debt from the legal battles. Dr. Caldwell is 79 years old. He's in maximum security prison, still appealing, still claiming innocence. The civil lawsuit is still pending. Tamara might lose, might owe $2 million she doesn't have, might lose everything again. But she keeps going. She has her daughter. She has her mother. She has the families who became her friends through shared tragedy. And she has Jasmine's memory. Every Sunday, she goes to Woodlawn Cemetery. Plot 237, Section B. She brings flowers. She sits. She talks. "I found you, Jas," she always says. "I never stopped looking. I found you. And I'd do it again. Even knowing what it cost, I'd do it again. Because some things are more important than money, than stability, than peace. Some things you just have to do, even if it destroys you, even if it costs you everything, even if no one thanks you for it. You do it anyway, because it's right. And that has to be enough." The end.